What's up, YouTube and Podcast Nation? Welcome to the From Setbacks to Success YouTube channel and podcast. I'm your host, Quincy Benton, and guess what? I'm a felon. Not only have I served time in federal prison, but I've been divorced, I've declared bankruptcy, I've experienced a house fire. I've experienced some major setbacks in my life. Some of you too watching right now have experienced or currently are experiencing some major setbacks in your lives as well. However, I want you to know that there is hope and there's a way to get through. Through the content that you'll find on this channel, through the interviews that we have, you'll find that there are tips and strategies that we'll give you that'll help you get back in the game and succeed. If this sounds like content you would be interested in, please smash that like button and press the subscribe button. We would love to have you as a part of our community. Today's topic, I'm calling this one the 5 keys for staying out of prison. The United States of America has one of the highest recidivism rates throughout the world. And when you're talking about recidivism, we're talking about specifically people who are released from prison who eventually end up going back. I'm not saying this is the end-all be-all list. And I'm not going to say if you follow these things that it's an ultimate guarantee that you'll never go back to prison. But I do believe from the research that I've conducted, some of the things that I've also implemented within my own life in terms of my release from prison, that if you apply these things, you're going to get outcomes and positive results that will have you on this side of the world back instead of back inside behind those bars. Key number 1, which is stay sober. Sobriety is key. Finding a key in terms of the studies that are being done about those people, returning citizens, people who are being released from prisons, whether it be state or federal prison, that the rates of recidivism drastically, without question, are trending. That if you are sober, meaning you're not drinking excessively, doing excessive drugs. Again, I know that there's different definitions of types of sobriety. Some is just a complete clean. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do any drugs type of thing. There's other levels, kind of within that. However, the more that you're closer to that level where you are, within your right mind and within in operating in a space of being more sober than not, then these are factors that will dramatically increase your rate of being able to stay out here. Okay, tied to that, just some of the benefits that sobriety typically gives the person who is practicing that as a way of life. There will be, in most cases, the positive impact that you'll get will be more money in your household as a result of your sobriety. Again, more money, just kind of a simple type of thing, is the less amount of money that you're spending on alcohol and drugs and things of that nature. The less money that you're spending on those things, the more money that you're keeping in your household. So from a financial perspective, there's the cost benefit, the real benefit to that right away. The other things that sobriety is documented to give you is better sleep. You gain more energy, motivation, and focus. Your sobriety will also help you in many cases maintain better relationships with the people around you, particularly if you are in environments where the people that are around you are again more sober than less. And also with you being sober, you're less likely to be obnoxious and offensive. Some people call it just being a total asshole to other people when you're drunk or high, and this again creates better relationships with the people around you, friends, families, members, spouses, children, etc. Okay, Second key for staying out of prison for felons, real talk. This one is going to be distance yourself from toxic people. This one is, I would, almost think that, for most people, this would be kind of something that's, obvious, because as you know, and can be, many of the people that are in your company or in your environments or that you associate with can have a direct impact on your level of ability to stay out of prison. The case in point, toxic people, can be in the form of toxic past or current relationships with, a boyfriend or girlfriend or a spouse. Those kind of toxic relationships, particularly if you combine those with people who are dealing with, substance abuse issues, can lead to, particularly if you may have done your time in a very clean way, and you're looking to, maintain that level of being sober and clean in your release and reentry back to society. So those types of things or those types of people can be very detrimental. They can force you back into relapse. The ups and downs that may come with their personalities, when they're on drugs or when they're drunk and things of that nature can affect you. And your path and your walk puts you in situations, again, where the likelihood that you're having, confrontations or, exposure to law enforcement, as a result of those things, kind of domestic disputes and things of that nature that can come with that type of stuff, prison. And so, those are kinds of things that I think that to be aware of and be conscious of, and just do your best to make sure that those are not the types of kind of individuals that are in your closest circles. Try to control those things. With toxic people, they will attempt to control you and manipulate you in various ways. Toxic people are also people who take and are more takers than givers. And again, coming out of prison and being released, you're not always at that point and in that position to be, a total giver. Now, you can always give of your time and your energy, and I think you should do those things, during your process of reentry. But again, you don't need, you just may not be in the position to be, on the, long end of giving. And if those people around you, they're just kind of trying to withdraw and take from you, that can be very toxic in a sense. Again, toxic people aren't honest. The dishonest people, they're lie, cheat on you, do different things. Toxic people are not typically people who are people who will respect your boundaries. So, for instance, some of the things that will cause you to get back in certain violations, in technical violations that send you back will be, people who, don't really respect some of the things that you might be coming out trying to be focused on in order to be kind of compliant and follow the steps that are going to get you to a point where, you're past maybe paying any restitution that you owe, or past, any of the, requirements that you might have as far as, different types of, in terms of your probation and parole period. And so if, they're not thinking about those things as much as you may be thinking about those things, or they're not, helping you keep you in check as much as you need to be in check, then that's, good possibility of them being, not the type of person that you need, so closely involved in your life. So that's key step number 2, distance yourself from toxic people. Okay, Key step number 3 for staying out of prison, not going back to prison, staying out of the recidivism statistics. And I think at this point during this episode, I'm going to throw some statistics out, in terms of the the high rates of recidivism. One of the things that I also want to kind of share as well is that there are statistically different periods that if you make it past these kind of benchmarks, the likelihood of you going back to prison starts to trend down. Year one, number one, is a very important year. If you're going to go back to prison, you're going to go back, in year one. And so, again, if your goal is to stay out of prison, you don't, ever want to look back or go back to prison again, really focus on, kind of following some of these keys that I'm going to give you today, maybe other keys that you will find from other content creators or just people that who have been released and have been out for a significant number of years. And when I say significant, 5, 7, 10 years, these are the type of people you want to kind of pay attention to and try to associate with to see what their jewels and keys and how they're moving to figure out their recipe, their blueprint for staying out of prison. Going back to key number 3, focus on your freedom first, not your money. And I say this one not to focus on being offensive minded and getting your paper, but in turn being defensive minded as far as doing the things that are going to keep you away from being put in this position where you will get violated and or commit or be charged for another offense. And so when I think about this and when I've discussed this with people before, I think of it kind of from a analysis and observation of, say, basketball, the game of basketball, and how you have these one-way players. They're kind of offensively minded. They just shoot. They jack the ball up. They love to score, but they're not very good at playing good defense. And I'm not saying that there's anything necessarily wrong with that, but I have found from the observations of particularly professional basketball, it seems like the more valuable players are the two-way players. Two-way players that not only can score, but can play good defense as well. And I know that, there are guys that, and this is all subject and relative, who, they're good scorers, or at least claim to be, good scorers. They can go, make that paper, make that bread, but, they're not necessarily thinking about these other things, in terms of like, keeping their sobrieties, keeping their environments clean with people around them. And again, distance themselves from toxic people. So that, they're good on one end, but not very great on the other end. And I just think that leaves you very much exposed. And so when I talk about, being defensive minded, really work on developing your defensive game. If you clearly know that, you have blind spots, you have, there's just things that you're not, you really haven't considered because you're just so focused on, getting back out here and getting back on the level of everybody else that you're seeing on social media, on TV, blah, 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 folks that you know about, who are doing it, kind of doing their thing out here. So that's my idea. Again, focus on your freedom, being compliant, doing the things that, are going to get you off of parole, off of probation, and first, and, really worry about, making, and again, I know you're going to have to make a living, but in terms of like really like moving to those next levels, not just making a living, but, getting some of the extras or luxuries of life. I don't think you need those just right off the rip. Just focusing on getting past the legal stuff so that at that point, once you're done with that, And while you're focusing on that, you can actually move forward after that, because the worst thing at the end of the day that you can have is to go back in prison and now you've lost more time, and time is money, and that's just part of how the world works. Key number 4 in staying out of prison and not being a part of the statistics related to recidivism, again, this is real talk for felons, is to, in my opinion, stay humble and stay patient. I think that and this ties back into what I was kind of talking about before in terms of statistically speaking, the 1, 3, 5, and 10 year marks for people who have served time, and being able to get to that 10-year mark and know that you really, like I said, you're in a position where you got it figured out. Your past was your past. It's really far behind you now. It's way back in the rearview mirror, maybe even to the point that you don't even see it anymore. And then at that point, you really, hopefully, maybe with some changes in legislation or just pushes that you may do, specifically, you can really start talking about, making those, taking those actions to just get your record expunged, and having that, that part of whatever that took place, removed from you permanently. So I think with that, again, there's a certain level of patience and a certain level of humility that you have to continue to, keep embedded in you, so that you don't get frustrated with yourself. You don't get discouraged and impatient, which can lead to making mistakes that and falling victim to temptations that we all have as human beings. So by keeping that mentality that you're going to stay patient, remain humble, you're going to give yourself some grace, give yourself some time to get really way beyond this thing. I think that's got to be a part of the mental, emotional DNA that you bring to this thing, to really truly not be a statistic, and not go back to prison before you really have gotten reestablished and rebuilt yourself out here in society. And again, part of that is is the word that so close to me is forgiveness, forgiving yourself, forgiving others, giving, again, like I said before, giving yourself grace during this period, that you don't have to try and build Rome right overnight, because I think overall, if your mind and heart is in the right place, just you being out and being here instead of there is more valuable to society, is more valuable to your family and your family members and the people who love you than anything else. Okay, key number 5 for staying out of prison, real talk for felons, not becoming part of these recidivism rates of men and women who are being released and going straight back to prison, is to serve others, not just yourself. Really truly develop a mentality that you can benefit society by filling in the gaps that were left as a result of you not being here. And I know that kind of may seem a little vague, and I want to try to bring some clarity to it, as much as I can. But there is purpose that we all can serve, from our experience, our experiences from being incarcerated, our experiences as being, in a lot of cases, depending on your age, as being older and wiser, as a result of your experiences. Just overall as being, men or women who are parents, mothers and fathers, children of, older parents, fathers and mothers, children of older parents, of fathers and mothers, and even just with your brothers and sisters in the community as a whole. So there are places that you truly can play a part. You can create value and add value to organizations, to your loved ones. And you just got to figure those things out. I mean, if there's somebody that needs help, that you are around and you are able to provide that help them out. Be there to be supportive of those people. Because, not only does that serve them, it will serve you. It has served me. And that service is priceless. It really, will give you a start to strengthen your belief that you have a place in your world, in your family, in our communities and society by serving others. Too many of us, and I'm not just saying men or women who've been formerly incarcerated, but just in general, too many people in our society are just kind of sitting around only thinking about themselves. And there is no sense of true value that you can create by only thinking about and doing for yourself. The whole life, the full life, the complete life, the life that will, again, help you get to that 10-year mark where you, again, that felony or whatever that you have on your record is so far behind you that, you're just like, man, I mean, we need to just take this off. Similar to, I will relate this to a story that I have about my bankruptcy, and I really hope that the legislation, and we really push for legislation that will treat certain records, that criminal records, such as treat them as bankruptcies or things of that nature. Or if you want to correlate it to the credit world. But with the bankruptcy, after 10 years, it is off your record. It falls off immediately. You don't have to call in, you don't have to request it, you don't have to fill out additional paperwork, any of those things for it to fall off your credit. It automatically falls off after 10 years. And I think something similar to that should happen when it comes to men and women who have made it to a certain point that they shouldn't have to live with these things forever. If we're truly going to stand on, being a society that's representing second chances that, I made some mistakes, but I've learned from those mistakes. I clearly have demonstrated that I've learned from those mistakes because I haven't made them. I haven't been involved in that activity or done those types of things in X amount of years. So, I do think that those things should happen in our society. I know I'm kind of off topic a little bit, but, serving others and not just being focused on yourself and woe is me type of attitude. And, I'm the victim here. I was the one that, lost all these years out of my life, really saying I have another chance to bring value to people, whether it be through my testimony, whether it be through my positive energy, whether it be from, all that iron I was pushing out on those weight piles, and actually getting out here and helping some elderly people, push some dirt or push some, some landscaping or whatever that needs to be moved, clean out some attics or garages, whatever it is that you come up with, that you can use the strengths, the talents, the abilities that you have, the knowledge that you have to bring value to other people, serve other people, and not just yourself. And you will find that this will help you emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, in staying out of prison for the long term. So that's what I got for you today. That's my soapbox, I guess. And I hope you, again, as always, will appreciate, the information, the content that we bring to this channel. We try to keep it real, completely real. If you have comments or suggestions or things that just your perspective on what I'm talking about today that you would like to add to the community of people who subscribe to this channel, who are possibly formerly incarcerated people that could be of benefit to them, please drop those comments down below. I would love to read them. I know everybody else would love to see them and read those comments as well. Also, I want to give you my website. My direct website is www.from-setbacks-to-success. That's the number 2. www.from-setbacks-to-success.com. Please go there to drop any information in blogs. Reach out to me. If you'd like to have me as a guest on your podcast or YouTube channel, you can drop me an email through there. Also, if you would like to be a guest on this channel and you feel like you have content and information that needs to be spread to others who are facing similar challenges, please hit me up there. I'd love to reach out to you, collaborate with you, and bring you on the show. Other than that, again, I am so grateful for those of you that have been rocking with me and are still rocking with me on this channel. And again, really appreciate what we're bringing in this unique way and fashion to help uplift people and move them forward in a positive and healthy way. So I appreciate you guys for being locked in and showing me the love and showing me the likes and the subscribes and hit me up in the comments. I really do appreciate a whole bunch. Until next time, don't let your setbacks stop you from your success. Peace.